Next thing we have on this month's GPS Training podcast is a chat with Tom from Garmin Sales about some of the standards that the current navigational GPS units go through, what they're tested for. So welcome, Tom, back to the GPS Training podcast. You've come back to Northumberland, so that's very much appreciated.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is we're going to do a bit of testing. I know if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see us, but we are streaming it live on Facebook. And I'll also put the video in the news section on the GPS Training website. Go and check it out. But we've got a big tub of water in front of us. It wasn't quite as smooth as it should be because we have a little puddle next to the table from the first time of trying to fill up the container, but we've got a better one now, Tom.
Yeah, turns out plastic box wasn't waterproof.
It wasn't waterproof. And why we're doing this is we're going to see how waterproof some of the GPS units are. So we're going to look at the IPX ratings, which is the waterproof ratings, Tom, of the GPS unit. So before we start, so we can kind of keep the thing going, we're actually going to immerse some units in it. We've both got, I know Tom's from Garmin, so we've got Garmin units, we've got watches, we've got units, handheld units.
Yeah.
You're actually going to put your, is it an iPhone, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to put my iPhone in there in a waterproof case as well from Aquapack.
An Aquapack, just to see. So what we gonna, which ones do we feel most competent with? So
we're at the 66 in.
let's put the 60. Have you got the 60? So
yeah.
GPS about 66. But if you can't see us, we're going to put it in a tub of
switch it on.
water.
That'd be a better idea.
It's got batteries in it. Has it got batteries in it, has it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right, we'll switch it on.
So for
These
on Facebook.
I must add, these are just our training units or Tom's demo units. So they're not brand new units out of the box. Many of them have been used and played with and thrown away on courses. So some of the seals will have been opened up and this kind of thing. So there's nothing in it. And we've got the confidence. Go on.
So it's live.
It's live into a bucket of water. Oh dear. Right. Now it's overturned, so we can't even see what's happening to it.
There we go.
Is it working all right,
Yeah,
Tom?
still switched on.
Okay, so 66S is in there. I put the Instinct watch. This is the Instinct watch that came out just before Christmas. Different rating waterproof. We'll discuss that as we go, but we'll put that in. That sinks it into the bottom. All right.
Yeah, one thing to do now, they all sink like rocks.
Yeah, that is good. Instinct InReach Mini. InReach Mini is a satellite 2-way satellite communication from Garmin. 100% waterproof, Tom?
Yeah.
Confident.
Yeah.
May I add, that's my
that's your personal
InReach that's got in there. So is my 66S. You got Oregon there, Tom?
Yeah, I've got an Oregon here, yeah, so I can go
put the Oregon in.
There we go.
And there's an eTrex 10, which is the base unit.
Yeah,
this is less than £100 for this unit. So
yeah, that one's been in my training bag for 4 years now.
okay. Oh.
No batteries.
No batteries. Right. That's why it's floating, that one. There's no batteries in.
There's a big ball of air, isn't there, inside it?
There is. So that one's floating. To show we're not as biased to Garmin, we've actually got an Active 20, which is the SatMap Active 20, which is waterproof. I'll switch this one on as well, just because we can, because it's got a battery pack in there. So that's booting up, and this should sink because it's kind of heavy, isn't it? Right. It actually sits up on its end. That does. Air bubbles coming out. That worries me a little.
There is quite a lot of air, isn't there?
Time will tell. The screen's still on anyway.
So I've got my phone here as well,
So
in an Aquapack. This has got the clamp system on the top, so that it really clamps your phone inside. These are, when we go through, waterproof cases as well.
Right.
So they're not water resistant, they're waterproof.
Okay.
£800 phone.
Into there in an Aquapack.
In it goes.
So what I thought we'd do is put all these devices in. Some are floating, some are standing on their ends, some are sank to the bottom. And the SatMap is beeping, which is, I don't know if it's good or not. We'll see at the end if it's good or not. It worries me a little bit, but anyway. And I thought while we've got them in there, we can talk a little bit about the different elements of the testing that goes through. So the key way of measuring the waterproof rating is something called is the IPX rating, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's an IP rating and an ingress penetration test, basically.
Okay, so the submerged units, as we've been doing to test them where they are. So Garmin units are what we call IPX7s.
Yeah.
So IP is the rating. X relates to solid protection, doesn't it?
Yeah, so there's two tests for an ingress penetration test. The first one is like a particle dust penetration, so whether dust can get inside the unit that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then the second part is your waterproof rating.
Yes.
So when Garmin say IPX7,
Yeah.
what that means is the X means we haven't put it through the
Particle
particle
yes.
testing. It's never going to really get put in a situation where lots of dust is going to get put around it, especially fine dust.
Yes.
That's used a lot for things like industrial product drills,
Right.
that kind of thing, where there's a lot of dust
Okay, yes.
kicking around, because it's a test that crosses over anything electrical. It's not just
Yes.
handheld GPS devices. It can be used for phones, it can be used for
Yeah.
drills, it can be used for
Right.
anything electrical is used in there.
Okay, brilliant. So
Yours.
that's the X-ray. So
Yeah.
then the 7 is
7.
actually the immersion test that it goes.
Yeah, so
isn't
there's a
it?
scale from 0 to 8.
Okay.
7 is submersible at a meter. So we've got
Yes.
quite a meter here for those on Facebook,
Yeah.
or not on Facebook. And for 30 minutes.
Okay.
And that's tested using specific equipment that's specified within the test. It's also the first rating point where you can call something waterproof
Right.
and not weatherproof or splashproof or water resistant. It actually can be officially called.
I suppose the hardest thing when they're creating these units is actually where we put the USB in, isn't it? Really, because that's the
Yeah.
bit that is just going to be a rubber connector, and that's
Yeah,
going to be
absolutely.
always going to be the weak
the
point.
battery compartment and the USB connection really
Is
the
where
two
we're going to
points,
have that
aren't we?
weak point, isn't it? Really. So, and as I say, all the units that we've got in front of us are our own training units. Some of them are years old, some are not so old, but they've been messed around with. It'll be interesting when we take them out exactly what we go there. So, everything's up to 1 meter for 30 minutes
Yeah.
tested. And then we're going to look a little bit later on about some of the other testings that we do with Garmin. Now I'm just going to mention quickly the SatMap, because we've got SatMap Active 20 in there. And that's IP68 waterproof and IK7 impact rating. So they put it through, where Garmin didn't do the X rating, they have actually put it through that dust resting. And this one is, say, it's test up to 10 hours, 8 hours, sorry, based on airflow, and that means it's dust tight. That's what they're doing with the SatMap there. And then immersion, they've got an 8 rating, so that's slightly deeper, so that's up to 3 meters in length. Now the interesting thing about that 8 rating, when you look at it online, is it says that it doesn't specify how long that should be, over 30 minutes, so actually potentially could be 31 minutes, couldn't it?
Yeah.
But hey, we're better just doing our own testing and see exactly
see
how
what
we get on
happens.
there. Now, there's something that the IK rating that the SatMap is put through is also like a drop test that they put theirs through, isn't it? So you've got an IK07, so that's produced against 2 joules impact, so it's equivalent to an impact of 0.5 kilogram mass drop from 400 millimeters onto an impacted surface. They've done that drop test. But then recently, Garmin have started testing things to a different standard, like a mil standard.
Yeah.
And they've started that with most of the new products. haven't
Yeah,
they?
so we've started using the MIL 810 standard,
Okay.
which is basically a US Defence Department created
Yes.
standard, which is now crossing over to civilian-based product. And there's a series of 28 tests
Right.
within that MIL standard.
Yeah.
And the Defence Department put 6 to 8 tests against a unit which are most representative of how it's going to be
Okay.
used. There's a whole plethora in that 28 tests. We were talking before, one of them's like gunfire shock, which isn't really relevant, but things like freeze thaw.
Yeah.
So if you've got it clipped onto the outside of your rucksack, it could be getting that freeze thaw or the freezing effect on it.
Yeah.
It's tested for that. Use at altitude, use at extremes of temperature, both cold and hot.
Yes.
Waterproofing, so within that is a secondary IP test that
Yes.
which they do, are all built into it, and the GPS Map 66 has been put through
Brilliant.
that and has that standard.
Good. And also the
Related to
watches now are
Yeah,
going through
so
that,
the
aren't they?
Instinct does,
Yeah.
that has it. InReach Mini does as well.
Right, okay.
Also, all the stuff that is kind of 2018 onwards has that built into it.
Fantastic. So that's it. That's really pushing it through the
Yeah, all sorts of shock tests and drop tests are built into
I was fascinated. I looked at it this morning on Wikipedia, and there's some really good things. Those shock test, immersion test, icing, freezing, freeze thaw, temperature shock.
Yeah.
So really putting it
I
through.
think what's great about that test is it's the US military testing it for real world
Yeah.
use. So it's not a specific weight from a specific height or a specific depth for a specific amount of time. It's been used in the real world through all these tests.
Exactly right.
And it passes them. So from their point of view, it's passed
And I
for
suppose
use.
they'd be looking at where that would be used. So actually, that freeze-thaw test or the temperature
Is really critical.
is
for
very
those guys.
critical
Yeah,
to them.
Absolutely.
But actually, submerged in a bucket for 1 metre is quite irrelevant, isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
really?
It's never, you know, what you want is to work when in driving rain or in
Yeah.
the snow, don't you? You want it to work in the Lake District when it's that
That's right.
horrible grey day when you really want it to perform.
I'm looking at these and I'm going to start taking a few of them out. 'Cause
Have a look at them.
Actually, we've got some towels here as we take them out so we don't end up with
Water
water
everywhere.
everywhere. So we've already done that. I'm going to take the 10 out first because that's on the top. And that's survived. That's an old
It's
10.
interesting to open them up and see if there's water in the
see there's
battery
water- yeah.
case and
So,
stuff like that.
well, I'll dry it off and then I'll open up the 10 first as we take out. We'll do it in that order and see. Bone dry inside, absolutely bone dry inside.
There you go.
That's brilliant. That one survived. Which one next do you think, Tom?
Whichever one you want.
Do you know what? That sat map kind of worries me.
Yeah?
The
But the bubbles are still coming out, aren't
to me. And I know it's switched on. It's
Still
going.
switched
It's still there. Still switched on. Oh, it's supposed to be a higher waterproof rating, but those bubbles around that
How
seal
much were you
just
panicking?
fill me with fear. It does. So it still looks absolutely perfect. So thank you very much because that's a nice, expensive sat map with a platinum card in it. So I was quite relieved. Thanks, sat map.
Is it all dry in the back as well?
Survived. Yeah, well, it's the batteries in there, so you don't really
okay.
want to take it out. But it's there. I'll just switch
Have a
that
look
off.
at the 66.
66
Still switched on there.
66 still switched on.
Yeah, powered up absolutely fine.
That's looking okay.
Just have a look in the back. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Bone dry inside.
Brilliant. The InReach Mini. Oh,
That's got an internal battery.
it
so
says
there's
an
no
internal
battery
battery.
case,
So
is
that should be. It's got the little flap that you lift for the SOS.
there?
Hasn't
Yeah,
it?
I
It's
suppose,
really
and the
interesting to
micro
see.
SD card.
And the micro
slot.
SD card slot that's in there as well. So what I'll do, I'll just look around the SOS button. Because again, we use that quite a lot for demos, opening and closing to make sure it's lovely and dry inside. Absolutely perfect. That's unbelievable. That's got another waterproof seal in there when you open it up. So that's working grand. Brilliant. I get the watch out. I suspect the watch would because somebody
Yeah,
wears
the
the
watches
Phoenix
are-
all the time. I kind of never take it off when I'm in the shower. I always
Yeah,
keep it on.
They've
So
got a slightly different waterproofing rating, which we can talk about in a second, can't
it's
we?
quite interesting now because you've got your charger on the back of there. Isn't
You
it?
have,
That's never really thought of that because people don't know you have the charger in the back that you plug
And
it
it's
in.
exposed, isn't
And
it?
it's exposed. It's not got a rubber flap over it, and that is still waterproof with that exposed. So that's an interesting. And they say we'll have a little chat about the watches. Is that an Oregon still in on
Yeah.
your side, Tom?
Yeah, grab that out if you want. Let's see. Has it got any power?
It is.
Yeah, booting up.
Really
There
fantastic.
you go.
I think we just leave your iPhone in there,
I'll
Tom.
not leave my iPhone in there. That's the thing that I'm most concerned about.
iPhone in the Aquapack.
But there is no water in the bottom of the case.
There's not
So
one
there
bit
we
of
go.
water.
Not one bit of water in the case. So spend some money on a good case and you.
Yeah, those Aquapacks are brilliant, aren't they? Because they think that what else we can use Aquapacks for. No, you put your phone in, but put car keys. Car keys are electronic these days, aren't they?
absolutely.
So if you're out
Car keys cost a lot of
walking,
money, don't they?
so if you're out walking, put your smartphone in an Aquapack, even in your rucksack on a wet day.
Yeah.
Put your keys in there.
Yeah.
Your car keys and this kind of thing. Anything electronic really. That you don't. As someone who actually managed to wreck a smartphone, I actually ended up in an air conditioning unit for a week to try and dry it out.
Yeah,
It just didn't dry it out. It was in my
Yeah.
waterproof pocket when I was out walking, and it just absolutely wrecked my smartphone.
Yeah.
So it's because they're not ridiculously expensive though.
No, but it's just you've got to go to these lengths, haven't you, to
Yeah.
waterproof a phone, whereas all the handhelds that we've just chucked in have all been even starting at £100 for
Yeah.
solidly waterproof.
So just quickly finishing off about the watches then, because
Yeah.
you said there's different waterproof
Yeah,
rating
so
for the watches.
they're called ATMs, atmospheres.
Okay.
So it's slightly different. It's a different set of tests, but basically both the Instinct and Phoenix 5,
Yeah.
Phoenix 5 Plus are all 25 ATMs, which is
Okay.
100 metres waterproof.
Brilliant.
Just means they can experience a bit more pressure of water.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that they've both got swimming modes. So
Okay,
the idea
yes.
is that you can go in the pool with them.
Yeah.
So they've got to be
Yeah.
waterproof. And like I say, the Instinct was absolutely fine. The Phoenix performs
That's
exactly the
brilliant.
same. And they've got that waterproof connector on these now.
Yeah.
So the connector can be exposed. It's exactly the same one
Yeah.
on each of them. And the only thing to note is that you do need to, if you try to plug it in just after it's wet, you just need to give it a dry.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise you end up with water in your connector, your
Mhm.
computer.
I did. This is actually Tom's instinct. This my son pinched this for about 3 weeks, didn't he, over
Yeah.
Christmas? He left it here. And my son fleeced it. You'll be glad now, Tom. He walks around. He's bought one himself.
Oh, good.
So, my 18-year-old son thinks it's the best thing ever. So actually, so he ended up having to buy one because Tom said, "Can I have my watch back?" I said, "Actually, it's on my son's wrist." So he got that back. So. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed. It's been slightly different. I say you've been listening to us on the podcast. Have a look on our news section on our GPS training, and you can see exactly what we've been doing, immersing GPS units. So, if you want to find out more about the GPS units that are available from here at GPS Training, please go to our website, which is gpstraining.co.uk. Click on GPS Store, then click on either handheld or GPS watches, and you can see all the GPS watches and units available that we've been talking about.